Hello, everybody, and welcome
Hey.
to another episode of Rob Dyke at Dark, the podcast where things happen and you're gonna like it. Am I right, Bob?
You are absolutely right.
I'm your host, Rob, and my co-host here is Bob from...
Bob is Weird TV.
Which is a YouTube channel. Go check him out. He makes really weird crap, which makes sense because Bob's Weird TV. So today we are going to be talking about video games replacing job interviews.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. No more going into a store, sitting at some stupid-ass terminal, and filling out some stupid-ass thing. They'll probably still have that.
Yeah,
fine,
I'm
whatever.
sure.
But they're thinking of, in order to reduce the cost of the hiring process, which is typically around $3,000 to hire a person, $3,000. They're thinking to keep costs down, play a video game, and that will tell us all we need to know as to whether you're a good candidate. What do you think about that?
I mean, it definitely does. I mean, it can, be a good thing, but bad thing at the same time, too. I mean,
what would be bad about this? What do you see? I mean, it's kind of like, now here's the thing. You can't jump in saying like, oh my God, I get to play, Dead Rising for my job interview.
Not like
I get
that.
to beat the crap out of zombies. I get to shoot soldiers or blah, 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 blah. No, it's not really like that, obviously. But what the studies show that and just because I said studies show, it automatically means that this is legit.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is put the word studies show or a study shows, and people are like, oh, this must be real. But we've looked into this, and it's apparently it's legit. It's a good way to get through, the process of hiring somebody to decide if they're a good candidate. Let's see right here. The CEO of NAC said that it's such a complex system that every millisecond of gameplay translates into hundreds of data variables. What you choose to do, how you choose to do it, what you choose not to do, how quickly you do things, and how you adapt to change throughout the game.
Yeah.
That's all. That all tells you way more than what a job. And here's the thing: I totally agree with that. Because you put on an interview. Here's the question. I like to be late for all things that I do. And then it's strongly agree, kind of agree, agree, disagree, whatever. And of course you're not going to be, I really enjoy being late for things. You know what I mean?
I know, right?
You've got to look into, I was reading a book once and, I think it was by Malcolm Gladwell or something like that. One of those head people, where they talked about the most important question an interviewer can ask is, what do you know about our company? Anything else the person can just BS through. What do you want to do with your future? Oh, I want to be a doctor. Or if you're, applying for a job in retail, oh, I want to sell clothes for the rest of my life. And the person's like, wow, you sound like a great candidate. Which is, BS-y. But, you walk in, they walk in, and you go, when was our company founded? I can tell you, honestly, I don't really know the answer to that question for anywhere I've worked. And, but they never asked, thankfully.
Yeah.
But, maybe they don't because they know they'd never get to hire anybody because no one would have the answer. But you should know who you're working for, right?
I would say it would be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, to look into and know about the company, and that's not an outlandish thing to request of somebody.
No, of course not.
So when you're playing a video game, there's really no BSing about it. You get absorbed into it. When you're playing a game, you get competitive, right?
Yeah.
Every time I play
absolutely.
a game, I get competitive. I
you
against myself.
You get really into it and stuff, and
I want to do well. And if you're playing a video game, you don't have a person staring at you, going, and you're trying to make
you feel intimidated or anything.
Right.
That,
you just got the game. It's the game, by the way. Who just lost the game? Everybody.
Rob.
They have sorry. They have you know, they have the game tells you more about everything. They just have the game sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing it. You're doing your thing, and all the decisions you make speak crap tons of volumes towards the kind of person that you are. And you know, there was Tufts University.
Yeah.
Actually, just came out with one. A game for hosting events and stuff like that. Usually their events aren't very stress free. I believe I'm getting that right. And that their events, and they have for event coordinators or planners and everything like that, they have a video game you play in order to successfully to successfully host an event, so you don't stress people out and don't do anything wrong.
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
And you know, it's I mean, such companies like Xerox and Shell are even, you know, potentially considering using this for potential candidates that they have. So, which is, you know,
it's interesting.
It is.
The Times, this article right here, which I'm getting from the Huffington Post, the Times reports that Wasabi Waiter, a game from developer Knack, measures how easily applicants get distracted by putting them in the role of a sushi waiter, recommending new dishes to customers. Yeah. So, see, that's tough because video games can be nerve-wracking anyway, especially if your job depends on how well you do.
I know, right?
I mean, that's kind of crazy. But,
and of course, as the game goes on, too, like the gameplay will probably change and, you know, more and more content will be added, which will probably add to the nerve-wracking experience.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's
the game evolves and it gets difficult. Yeah, a lot of the games I've seen. Some of these, you know, there was an article that was talking about when it was a video where a woman was actually, I'll probably just put the video in, hopefully, where a woman is taking a test and you just see all these different puzzles and stuff like that. And sometimes she has to hammer on the keys and you have to, like, do, you know, blah, 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 blah. All this, like, really,
reflex timing or reaction
delicate
timing.
You know, just to measure your reaction time and everything like that. And it's kind of crazy. And a lot of these companies are tech companies who are implementing this kind of thing.
And it was also a series of pictures too that had expression and looks on their faces, and she had to try to identify what the expressions were.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, they, all of a sudden, and you only have a limited amount of time to answer these questions, and it'll show pictures of people's faces, like, and you have to like guess what expression is that, and they have like not just like 3-4 different choices. They had like 9, 10 or something like that.
It was like 9 or 12 different expressions, and you have to pick
it's just like which one is it, and there is a right answer, and it's just like, holy crap, that's really in depth, and it's just like, I mean, it's good if you can find somebody who nails it. I mean, isn't that the best way? But is it the best way?
It's very questionable, you know. I mean,
so what might you question about that?
Well, I don't know. Just because now that I think about it, like with the fact that there was 12 faces, and I mean, if there's gonna be other tests like that too, it's like, how? I mean, because if people don't perform well on these, you know, these tests and whatnot, then, you know, with the unemployment rate and stuff, I mean, you would maybe think that not as many people would be getting hired, you know, like hired into jobs because they wouldn't be scoring well on these certain games and stuff. I mean,
I think the issue is that video game applications are kind of aimed more towards the generation Y or whatever we are right now, whatever's in right now. That's kind of it's people with quicker mind, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's you're pretty much counting out older people.
Yeah, because they won't be able to react quick enough to certain, you know.
Right now, as an older person going to walk into a tech company without much experience, and, you know, a 70-year-old, like, I want to get a job working behind, you know.
I mean, maybe some, but technically, usually it's
well, in this day and age, you know, in the
no.
time we're at right now, that could, you know,
yeah.
anybody's looking for any job they can possibly get. But, I don't know. I see this as a good avenue, but not as like a permanent kind of like only way to do things.
It has potential, but there's just some minor speed bumps along the way that companies are probably gonna maybe have to try to clear out and stuff. But
probably.
I mean, well, then again, because, you know, especially for the younger generation, how, you know, a lot of kids and teenagers are always, you know, cooked up playing games and stuff. I mean, for all we know, they could actually be preparing for the big test that will that big video game that will get him that job.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think for its purpose for certain jobs, I think it serves a purpose.
I actually, I mean, because, I love technology. I love the fact of advancing technology, and I even love how people are taking certain things, technology, and using them for other, purposes. So, yeah, I support this. Like, I'm actually, I'm interested to see where this goes.
I think it is.
Despite the cons that will follow along with it.
Oh,
but...
there's going to be some.
Oh, yes.
So let's take some comments and kind of evolve off of that, okay? Rajane says, well, there are major pros to it. It gives an employer the chance to actually evaluate choices made by potential employees in given situations. For example, in many games, the player is given the choice to lie or tell the truth to another character. They're encouraged to pick the answer they find the most likely to benefit them. People are likely to say certain things during interviews that is not actually reflective of their characters. The games can also be adaptable to the type of work environment the person will experience, whether it be calm or fast-paced and hectic. I think it's innovative as hell. And I would agree. In that aspect, It is innovative as hell. I think, and we can't rule out the fact that we can't be like, well, these are just going to be puzzles, but because they're not. Tufts University, as I mentioned before, their game, you actually have to walk around as a character in a town with other people who are event planners, and you have to interact with them, and you get like seeds, and the town's in black and white, and you get seeds, and each seed you get to plant them and add color to the town. So it's actually like walking around and interacting with people. So we can't just say it's just puzzle. So yeah.
That's interesting.
I think that's a valid point.
I think it's a very valid point.
I think and lying is pretty easy in game though.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I mean, we can lie all damn day but when you're doing that in a video game, you got to be careful. The video game's not as much fun when you might not get a job based off.
Well, and also be careful because the content itself can sometimes probably be very tricky. They try to really knock you off course, they would throw give you something and then when you think it would be the right answer and it's really not. So but I'm sure that even still applies on traditional applications.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
hopefully
I assume so.
So we're gonna go to another question here.
All
this
right.
one is was submitted by Danny Shaw. Guys, I honestly am not sure about the gaming interview thing. Some people can be so crap at social situations when they would be put in those situations in the working environment, but could ace them in a game. I like the idea of it, but the actual practice, I just couldn't see it really working and going well in most cases. That is a very, very valid point.
I can definitely understand that.
A lot of people... they're introverts. A lot of the typical gamers you think of are introverts. There are people who are awkward in social situations. Luckily I'm not.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't call touching myself inappropriately in public to be a social hindrance. I think it's just me being expressive. No, but
expressive, huh?
It's one of those. A person in game is different. Personality, yeah, typically.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can handle the situations a lot better. I mean, here, like bring up Mass Effect. I mean, I don't know why I'm bringing that up.
Well, it is.
But you've got Commander Shepard. You got Commander Shepard, right? And he comes around, and now you're you, okay? You don't have a Reaper invasion happening. You don't have the whole destruction of all life within the galaxy being imminent, okay? In your normal everyday life that you know of. And, and here you are. So now you're going to put yourself in that situation. I'm Commander friggin' Shepard. Now the Reapers are all over me and my crew, and I'm kind of upset about that.
It's up to you to make the executive calls, which can alter, can alter the fate of your crew and everything, and also the job itself. So,
and I might make those calls the same way, but I'm not under anywhere near the same amount of duress that Commander Shepard's under. You know what I mean? So you can't fully replicate the situation. You can't fully replicate, all of the emotional attachments that come with certain scenarios. You just can't do it. And, out in the real world, a lot of people would buckle and they would crap out in those actual situations. I'm not talking about an actual Reaper invasion. I'm talking about, a socially awkward situation.
It just, it doesn't go good, Not
it won't go good in real life.
You go with it, in the game, it's all good and everything.
But in the game, it's fine because
then
you're not
when
you.
when you go there in social in real life, then you start to freak, you panic, maybe you're worried about being judged or whatever, and then you don't make any contact with anyone.
Pretty much. So we'll go to another comment here. Reverend Bug said, I'd love to try it out. I'm pretty good at video games, and I'm really awkward when it comes to person-to-person interviews. A lot of people these days aren't very comfortable in a typical interview situation, so even if it was just an option for people to do a video game interview, I think it would really benefit our generation. I think that works both ways, kind of like what we were just talking about. As you just mentioned, sometimes it's important to sit in front of somebody and feel nervous. And act in a nervous situation. Really
test your will to see how strong you can be against them. Don't let them be intimidating to you.
Yeah, but sometimes they that's what they try to do.
No matter what.
So I don't know. I think video games are an excellent way to test certain skills. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to implementing those skills, I don't know. There's a difference between skill set and personality.
Or maybe it's just, the video game is like the beta form of the application, and then the actual final thing is going to sit down with the manager and having a talk face-to-face talk.
I'd assume that there'd always be some kind of face-to-face interview afterwards. You'd have to assume that.
Maybe just using the video game to, distinguish what skill sets you have, and then be like, okay, we see what you're good at and stuff. Now, I want you to look me in the eyes and, tell me everything.
I want you to look me in the eyes. I want you to kiss me. Kiss me on my mouth. And then you're all like...
Look me in the eyes and tell me that you love me.
This wasn't in the video game. Of course, you're having sex with aliens in some of the video games. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a...
Not Bob, though. Bob's all about that Miranda Lawson, aren't you?
What? Hey, no comment.
Yeah, I saw it. I had to watch.
Yeah, well, you could have left the room.
I could have.
You could have.
But
the doorway was right there.
It's kind of like, someone starts having sex right in public. You're kind of like, oh, wow, what's going on? Like, you're still looking like, damn.
It's like looking under the shades.
And then you want to do it. You just jump in and you're like, yeah, let me help.
Need an extra hand?
But that's kind of, in a video game, you might be more apt to be like, hey, let me join in. But in real life, you might be like really awkward. And that's the difference. So I think the video game applications serve a purpose, as well as long as they're only for a certain part. They're not like, they don't encompass the majority of the interview, because there's still important questions to be asked, and you have to sit across from somebody. You do.
Or maybe it could just be like one of those jobs where, they have you do the game for the interview, and then maybe you never ever see the boss. Maybe there's a part in the game where eventually they have you look at a CGI version of the boss and face-to-face talk, and then you go to the job.
What is this, Tron?
It's I was actually going to refer to that episode of Hey Arnold where they never see that other resident in the building.
Isn't it Mr. Smith?
Mr. Smith, yeah.
Mr. Smith, who every time he leaves the place, it's in a helicopter. Yeah.
And he's in like a secret compartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe you never see the boss or something, or
they could do really. Here's the thing: they're going to redefine what video game means in these, and a lot of people are going to do this, and be like, "This isn't a video game."
Yeah.
But it kind of is, and I think it's a good direction to go in. With video games, you could tell way more about a person.
But not like first-person shooters or any of that. Just
because you're putting a person in an environment.
Testing.
You're putting a person in an environment where there are no actual real-life consequences.
Right.
So you can do whatever you want. But now they're putting real-life consequences to your decisions in a video game. So it's kind of like the perfect storm of what you don't really want.
Yeah.
You want to be able to screw up a video game. You want to be able to run out of cover and get shot 16 times and die and then just respawn. You don't want to, like, well, if you run out of cover and get shot and die, your dog gets cancer. It's just like, no, I'm not playing that damn game.
That's horrible.
Right. You know, it's like if you go and talk to this guy and you say the wrong dialogue selection, you're not getting this job and you're going to be poor. And it's just like, and you're not going to be able to make rent. And, you know, kind of scary to
That's
think
a
about.
little nerve-wracking, yeah.
A little bit. So, I don't know. Make sure to comment below and tell us what you think.
Give us your thoughts and opinions.
And I'm going to wrap it up. I think that's it for this episode of Rob Dyke at Dark. I just want to let everybody know that Rob Dyke at Dark is filmed live Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So drop by my channel.
Be here.
Namely mainly my Facebook fan page, my Twitter, stuff like that. That's where I post the link to join in and ask comments. The comments featured in this episode are from the live show. So if you jump in, you could get featured. And so, you know, make sure to come on by Saturday nights, 10 p.m.
Say hey.
Say hello. Say something. And then come on by Monday nights.
Join the discussions.
Monday nights, uploading Rob Dyke at Dark HD.
Yep.
And we appreciate you for coming by. We appreciate if you would thumbs up and favorite this video. That would be great.
That'd be awesome.
If you haven't, subscribe to my channel. And Bob?
And also subscribe to my channel at Bob is Weird TV.
They're not going to do that.
Yes, they will.
LOL.